Okay. All right, so let's get into some things. So right now, it's completely understandably, it is an economic crisis. So we really need to figure out, okay, how do we address, how do we pivot, and how do we understand what's actually happening as much as we possibly can to address it. The world is changing, and the kind of scary thing is we don't know how long it's going to be like this for. So it's important to understand that change is coming, and we need to address it. There we go. I guess, Shauna, do you have any specific questions before I start? And Janelle and Tina and Amanda?
Yeah, a couple of things. Everyone's obviously very sensitive right now. I'm not really sure how to approach meetings and projects that were started before all of this. And we're making quotes and we're sending them out, for example, for weddings. Everything's put on hold right now. So do we follow up with people? I just don't know how to approach that without offending anybody and we're asking for deposits and we're going through a crisis. So.
Yeah, okay. So I think there are a number of things that we can discuss in a second. So crisis planning, really. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what I'll do is I think everyone here already knows who we are. So I may actually just skip through the introduction and get to the finer points. But there's some information about who we are, and what we'll then do is get into specific fears, and then understanding our audiences and discussing basics and ideas and suggestions and execution ideas. So there we go. Very, very quickly, just who we are. We're an agency. We've been doing this for a long time. I think the only person who I don't know on this call right now is Janelle. So I'm not sure if she's available to chime in and just ask any specific questions. There's some awards that we've won, some really big ones that we're proud of. And here's what our happy team looks like when they're not working at home and they're actually working from the office. And then there's also a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, I know that Shauna, you know exactly what all of this is, so does Cam, but essentially there's a ton of stuff that we do. And I think now is maybe a really good time to discuss and explore some of the different options that we have. But let's get into things. So right now there's a hell of a lot of fear, and we need to figure out what we can do to get ready and address the change that is happening. So some of the concerns that you have come down to understanding what kind of consumers, what their fears are. So there are 4 different kinds of consumers that we'll look at. So ones that are like the slam on the brakes. Everything is stopping because the world is no longer going to happen. So Shauna, a lot of the people who are who think about the purchases that you're getting. There we go. Tina's giving me some feedback on the side here, which is good. So thank you. These are people who are stopping their purchases right away. They're completely fear-based, and they also pretty much don't have the budget to make any of those spends right now. So these are the people who are, in good times, they will make purchases. In bad times, they will fully pull back on absolutely everything. There's also pain but patient, so resilient and optimistic about the long term, but less confident about the prospects in the near term and their ability to maintain their standard of living. So we, as an agency, have already interfaced with clients that I think fall into every one of these categories. So ones that instantly, it's like, okay, we're gonna pull back. We're bracing for the worst. We don't know what's gonna happen. We also have some, okay, let's wait and see what happens. And as information comes out, we're slowly seeing this trickle of concern. There's the comfortably well off, feel secure about their ability to ride out the situation, about the current and future bumps in the economy. So there are some that are comfortably well off. And then there's a live for today. And I think where we're going to want to focus most of our efforts and discussions today are the people who have income, have spending, and have an ability to justify it. The last one is the live for today. They carry on as usual, and for the most part remain unconcerned about savings or about what's going to happen. So we need to figure out, like, in the short term, we can really focus on those people who are living for today. They want to potentially indicate that, okay, I can buy these things, I can spend because I will outspend, or I will also help support the economy. So Shauna, for you, which clients do you think, like, which ones should we be focusing on? And especially, so Shauna runs Passionate Blooms. Which products and services do you think you should be focusing on right now?
Well, I don't think weddings is something that people are going to want to move forward with, because there's venues that are closed and people are also worried about, you know, like money, financials. I don't know everyone's situation for my current clients and the ones that we're quoting out. I know that I need to move more of my business online somehow, online workshops. There are still people that are buying flowers right now. It's really hard to say. I think I should definitely market towards the comfortably well off and live for today.
Yep.
It's a luxury. I'm selling a luxury item. So.
Right. Absolutely. You're selling, but there are different services that you provide. And we've had this conversation many times. Like, you're right to be concerned about weddings, because what we're seeing and every projection that we're hearing right now is this is going to be changed for the foreseeable future. And we're not going to, like, group gatherings are going to be shut down or completely discouraged. So if people are getting married, and if that's a huge portion of your business, we need to pivot that as quickly as we can, because that is the slam on the brakes section, right?
Okay.
These are the people who fully right now are like, okay, we're spending, we thought we were going to spend a lot of money that we potentially didn't have because we were going to try to recover this by wedding gifts or wedding guest gifts. So it's like, there's definitely a concern there. While some of the weddings will continue, they'll likely be scaled down. So if maybe Cam and Amanda, think about in which point, where can you not actually delay buying flowers, or where would you still, what situations what situations in which you still buy flowers? Yes.
I'll come in. So I actually just bought quite a few flowers, and this idea popped up like instantly when you were talking about, because I was actually going to come to you for my wedding in October, which everything is honestly on hold. But what I immediately did, like, I have quite a few plants in my house. And then with the virus and everything, I started looking at like Pinterest and started looking at what plants best circulate air in my home, and like per square footage and stuff like that, as well as like propagating any of the big plants that I do have, so maybe I can grow a few more. And then I started planting little seedlings for food and stuff. So like, maybe if you were going online and doing workshops or trying to cater to an online group, like, I would definitely love to know more information about plants that better purify the air, or plant care, where to put certain plants and stuff like that.
Okay. Great idea. Thanks.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. Cam, when do you think people are going to be like, there's a segment that I have specifically in mind. Let me just jump through to the different kinds of products, so we can address them in a cohesive way. So there are essentials. So products or services necessary for survival or perceived as central to well-being. So Amanda, as you're describing like clean air and circulation, think about all of the fears that are happening right now about air, and like, if we can help pivot some of these products into this, like, okay, these are now essential or required for well-being.
Yeah.
Right. So the first one is essentials. The second one is treats, products and services that are indulgences whose immediate purchase is considered justifiable. So what things can people indulge in that it's like, okay, you know what, this needed to be done because it's an anniversary, because it comes with chocolates, or because I really love this family member and I need to know that they're okay. Right. So how do we address that? And I think, Shauna, let's use you as a case study for today, because I think there's a ton that we can help pivot and kind of rearrange. Next one is postponables. So products or services that are needed or desired items whose purchase can be reasonably put off. So when we think about weddings, anniversaries, like that's likely what's happening. And then there's also the expendables, products or services perceived as unnecessary or unjustifiable. So in these times, unnecessary and unjustifiable is going to get cut. So what you're going to see, and we even see that from a marketing perspective, anywhere where we haven't done a good job explaining why now marketing is crucial to the survival of your business, especially in these really difficult times, those are the clients that are most likely to pull back. So let's look through your products and services, Shauna. Who can I'm getting a ton of ideas, which I'm really excited about, but what specific services can people not pull back on? And arguably, we're probably going to see a lot more of.
Well, we're offering now in-home consultations. Obviously, I'm not going to go into somebody's house right now, but in the near future, and to come in and put plants into their house and then offer a maintenance program. So that would be marketing to the people that are comfortably well off and they're at home anyways. So I think that that's something that we can move forward with.
For sure. There's one confound, and that is, I think, as this social distancing is happening, a lot of the in-home services and in-home providing will not actually work well because people are going to pull back on it. So if we can do delivery, but we also need to convince these people that what we're doing is still safe. So we've had a number of conversations with clients about what message should they be putting out. So arguably they need to put out messaging that convinces their clients that what they're doing is best practice, it's safe, and that whatever products or services they're still likely to get from you, they're not going to get sick as a result. Mm-hmm. So I don't have your website up, and I think I will pull it up right now. Have we put up anything for as a statement for COVID-19?
No, just on social media.
Okay. So I think that's probably the very first thing that we can address and say, hey, look, here's what we're doing. Here's how we're still available to help people who need our services in this difficult time.
Okay.
I'm going to have a difficult kind of conversation in general, and that is if the worst were to happen, where is Shauna's business most likely to grow?
Funerals.
Yes.
Funerals or online workshops?
Potentially. So think about, there are a couple of kind of considerations. Like online workshop, would you consider that to be essential or expendable?
Yeah, expendable.
Partially,
I think that depends. It depends if you pivoted slightly to, like Amanda was saying, to teach people different plant care. So not only the plants that look good, but the plants that they could keep alive to grow their own vegetables. So they have to go to the grocery store less. We are coming into spring, so it's a perfect time to be focusing on workshops that are there. You don't sell the product, but you can sell the product of a workshop.
Mm. I have another idea, if possible.
Yeah.
Expanding on spring and everything too. One of the biggest things that I have a group of friends and people that I work with, and we've been trying to do video calls just because there's a couple people we know that are living by themselves and they get very lonely being quarantined. But another thing that I honestly did the other day is we set up our patio and we kind of made an outside space for us again. It's still kind of cold out there, but that's what we did. Is there any way, Shauna, for you to do FaceTime or Facebook video calls where maybe if you can educate people on having that space that makes you feel outside or fresh, or as opposed to being cooped up, and then have somebody FaceTime their place with you or video call and offer suggestions that way as well, because then there's no contact, but you can communicate with them as if you're touring through the house.
that's
or
great.
the space.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good idea. And I think that like, I think a lot of people are, now that we're spending more time at home, and even when I think about what we're trying to do, we're like, how can we justify putting like plants and like potential like tomato plants onto our deck?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot that we don't know. And I think that there's probably a lot that we could take a look at there. But having your input, because you have such a good understanding of all of this, could potentially be like really good. So how do we do that in a way that allows people into people's homes?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, awesome. Like, the funeral segment is the one that I'm really curious about, because we've talked about this with Shauna quite a few times. I think we've struggled to articulate this in a cohesive way and rank for it in a specific way. So, Shauna, like, what do you think we should be doing right now for funerals?
So I would have to go and I would have to basically take over the other florists that are working with the funeral home. So each funeral home has one florist that they work with.
Yeah.
And I talk to all of them, so I know who all of their florists are, and they have a really good relationship with that person. So I would have to get in there and get kind of nasty in order to get that business.
Well,
Why nasty?
Why nasty? Yeah.
Not nasty, but I mean, if they're already happy with their current provider, how am I supposed to get in there? And
How do you know they are happy with their current provider? Have you asked that question?
when I talked to them a year ago, yeah.
I wonder if that's changed.
It couldn't hurt to go back again, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing to think about here is like, what does, sorry, 1 second here. I'm going to try to get the camera back up. Like, if you were in this position, position right now to, oh, let me just, there we go. Sorry, give me 2 minutes here to try to get this. If you were in this position right now to actually make purchases on products, and your regular provider hasn't issued any statement, let me just, there we go. Let me just do this.
Actually, a lot of the flower shops might even be closed. I don't know. The other one.
I agree. I think they're closed. What I'm trying to get at while trying to fiddle with my camera here is like, there's an opportunity here to convince them that their current provider may not be capable of providing in this really difficult time.
Right.
So like, it's now's like, if you can get out to them and say, look, here are the steps that we're taking. Here are the things that we're doing to address the COVID outbreak. Here's what we're doing as far as providing services. Like, if we're providing services during a funeral or making arrangements for when someone passes away, then, there we go. Then it's like, it becomes an essential. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. Essentially becomes an essential product or services that we provide.
Right.
So yeah, it's just pivoting into that. That I think there's a huge opportunity for.
I mean, just within the next 2 weeks, I don't think that they can have more than 30 people in a room anyways, right?
That's exactly it. But they may potentially be sending sending clients and patient, or sending flowers to people if they're convinced that they're safe. Like, your family just passed away.
Yeah.
Your family just passed away. How do you convince them that, or how do you provide a service that still lets them know you care?
Right.
If I could chime in again, sorry. One other
Yes.
thing too is the side of the road, as well as those bikes, memorial bikes and stuff. If flower shops are closed and if people are too scared to go into grocery stores to buy flowers, I don't know how it is. Like, I put flowers on my grandma's grave every year type thing. like maybe that's something to look into as well. If you can deliver it yourself and like take a picture for them or something, like to wherever the roadside grave is within reason, or provide that.
Sorry, can you say that again?
Okay, so like, yeah, so on the side of the road, you know, there's like those roadside accident graves, and like there's the bikes that people put flowers at. And then like I said, every year, it's not everybody that does it, but like every year, my grandpa and I will like, you know, go put flowers on my grandma's grave and stuff like that. If there is flower shops that are closed, or if people are, you know, they're not selling money for like plants and stuff in a grocery store, and people want to do that, or if they're too scared to go outside and do it, maybe offering something along the lines of that, where, you know, the bike down by the mall will go put flowers there for you and send you a picture to know that, you know, you put the memory flowers. I don't know what it's called when people do that.
I see. I know exactly what you're discussing. Like memorials, grave sites, providing flowers for something like that. So,
yeah, like annually or whatever. If people are too scared to do it, but say they had a mom that passed a year ago and they want to go to their, you know, do their put the flowers on the grave, but they don't want to go outside or something, or they don't know where to get any. It's kind of a good way to like weave yourself in, and because they're already dead.
Yeah, that could be something that we offer. I don't really think that there would be a lot of business through that though.
Yeah.
So yeah. Right now there's a completely changing marketplace happening. So we have no idea what potentially is going to work, what isn't going to work.
Yeah.
Like think about this is a study of understanding consumer behavior, and that is think about all of the purchases people are right now making that seem completely irrational, like buying toilet paper, buying up the entire section of meat. Like while it seems like it's like completely irrational, it is so predictable. Every single time we have an earthquake, it's like some sort of event, something like catastrophic, people do this exact same thing all around the world. So what we're trying to do is find these kinds of opportunities. It's like, okay, what can we tap into? What can we understand that people are going to do? And how can we get in front of them? Sometimes it's a matter of repositioning our product into that space where it now becomes this essential product or service, or it becomes a treat. So like we're stuck at home. One of the campaigns that we're running for a makeup brand over the weekend did really, really well. Like their month-over-month performance is up by 400%. Our return on ad spend for a Facebook campaign that we ran over the weekend was 2,500% or 25. So there's like this huge amount of opportunity to address these people and give them something they may be looking for that we wouldn't have ever imagined. So for Shauna, I think as Amanda is like the air and circulation thing, I think that's a really good idea. Yeah. What plans like can we put out and say, hey, this is something that will keep you and your family safe as air and whatever.
May I say something?
Yes, of course.
I was just thinking, like, I just started my own little garden, my own little home garden, like vegetable garden. And what there could potentially be is like an offering to drop off a kit to start your own home garden. So like seeds are relatively inexpensive. Like you could almost make like a custom package of seeds. And I mean, we've even used like egg cartons, like the materials can be relatively inexpensive.
For sure. I think that's a really good idea. So if we take a look at like,
well, no one's going to the garden centers right now, and it's probably crushing people.
Say that again, sorry?
No one's going to the garden centers right now, and at this time of year, they are so busy. So
right, which
yeah,
is,
there's a gap.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah,
right. There's a gap there. I think there are a lot of people who actually aren't going to the garden centers because they're actually they're heeding the warnings of social distancing. So there probably is a need. We just need to figure out how to deliver to them. Garden centers are slammed and they hadn't planned for having to deliver these things.
Right.
As someone who can create, like germinate seeds and seedlings in practically no time and put them into some soil, there could be a huge opportunity for you. Right? So this takes your product from being, there we go, a postponable or an expendable product into, yet now you need to plan for your food supply for the future, or you need to plan for survival in the future. What can we do to help you with that? The non-discretionary spending. So these are the, like the what happens if, like for anniversaries and funerals and romantic things, is there something we could do to convince people that it's still safe to order flowers, which is the right thing to do in this difficult time? So Cam and Amanda, what would you guys want to see, to know, to be convinced that if you're getting flowers dropped off, that every precaution has been taken, because we don't know how long this virus survives on plants?
I don't know, like I would, like maybe, I don't even know, like how to basically ensure that there's no, like they have not been touched by the virus or anything like that. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Well, I'm not asking necessarily how do you, we're not doctors here, so we don't necessarily, I don't expect like, how do we kill the virus but not kill the plant? It's what does someone receiving this order or potentially making an order want to see to be convinced that this is safe?
That this is safe? I don't know. I would say like even with Passionate Blooms, because I follow you guys on Instagram and stuff, it's a small place. It's not like you have 50 million people delivering it or anything. Like I know with even Skip the Dishes, I'd much rather order something from, it sounds silly, from like a small business or a winery where I know the owner and maybe 2 staff are always just doing the delivering, as opposed to like I would trust Passionate Blooms right in the first place, because it seems like, yeah, you're just a smaller business. You don't have 50 million people touching your stuff in the back. You know, you've got reliable, like a strong group of staff that's not Safeway or something where you just don't know who's delivering what. So I don't know. I would just like I would love it if it was dropped off on my doorstep, and then even so, like I would buy, 1 vase. And this was my other idea, was there was something I read a while ago that said fresh flowers in your kitchen brightens your mood by blah, blah, blah. It was a silly little article, but it was kind of nice. But I would buy like a vase and then even weekly, order flowers all the time. Or have like a weekly, subscription where I get a nice little bunch of flowers that I can put in my house and make me feel like it's brightening. Like I would justify that. But yeah, I don't know.
I think Amanda's touching on something good, both showing who's working on the flowers. So even doing a little video of you packaging the flowers and showing the care and the lack of people that are coming in contact with each order really helps. I know that if you guys go to Canoe Coffee Roasters Facebook page, they led with humor, but they did something really neat where people aren't going to be going to coffee shops, but they showed you how you can still order from them and how you can pick up by just using their window, and kind of push the message of shopping local, because they are just this family run coffee shop. So showing more of yourself, Shauna, putting together an order and then dropping it off could be a really good way of showing that it's you that's doing it, that it's only you that's touching the plants. And even if you wrapped it in that brown paper that you do, then it shows that the plant inside is protected. So once they take the paper off, it's not like it came in contact with a lot of other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What I wanted to show you guys on the screen right now is just, let me just switch this back. Just a map of where we should be focused, the kinds of clients and what we can do to position some of these services as, like, for essentials, if we can position those products into that essential category or come up with essential, a way of making it look like it's an essential thing. What are some of the basic needs that we all have? Food and shelter, right? Then there's the next one is going to be safety. So if we can say, look, food and shelter, you need air, you need potentially plants or have your own little garden. How can we create these things? It's like, here's how you can create your own little garden at home. Here are the seeds. I really like the idea of having like a package of some sort to grow. Sean, is that something you think you can do?
I think so.
Look at what I just sent you on your message, Will.
Okay.
I'm actually just playing with something right now, like MVP for Shauna.
Okay, perfect. So take a look. I'll share this in the chat, and then I'll see if I can pull this up on the screen as well. But there we go. So here, let me. Give me 1 second.
That's cute.
So yeah. So how can we do something similar? Here we go. New slide. There we are. Just gonna drop this in here.
I'm just basically repackaging the exterior of it, and I'm going to put it on Facebook and to see if this is something that people are buying.
Okay.
For sure. So I think the next thing that I wanted to discuss was like we can address what people are looking for. We can kind of help and try to understand. We can help understand like what's the value proposition, how can it relate, or how can we pivot our value proposition to turn into this kind of new and changing and emerging market. But I think there's also another opportunity, and that is to try to figure out a different kind of strategy or a different kind of messaging, or pivot the design to more affect and more impact the people that we're going after, or potentially find new and very different opportunities. So as a flower shop, like going into the kind of the gardening space, like I think you're uniquely prepared for this, where most flower shops are not. You've done a ton of this. Like you've done your walls, you've done large house plants. So getting into these things can be, I think, a huge potential opportunity. But I think maybe there are new products and services that we could address as we're all shut in at home. I know you and Tina, Sean, have been talking about providing courses, like online courses. Amanda and Cam, what would you want to learn? Amanda, you already mentioned one about seedlings and air and circulation. What other courses would you want to know, or something from someone who actually has a ton of experience on this?
I would want to, oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say, I think a lot of the stuff that Shauna already does could be repurposed into, instead of in-person workshops, it could be online workshops. Like there's a lot of those like wall hangings and things to, like Amanda was saying, make your deck area a lot nicer, because it is spring. There is like a back patio that people are going to be spending a lot more time on because they're stuck at home. So why not make that an area that they feel good in? It kind of adds that delight to their life, because they can't go to the park. They can't go to these other places. Allowing people to make these spaces their own and having Shauna teach them, I think would be really powerful.
For sure. So right now, where do you guys feel safe ordering from? If you need products or services, where do you feel safe ordering from?
Like
Oddly enough, Lex just ordered something from Amazon. I'm not sure if I'd overly feel safe, but Amazon's never let me down. And I feel like we will be getting some things from there. So that's not a local place. Canoe Coffee Roasters, because they've put some time into addressing this with some video content. It makes me understand they know what's happening, and they've already put things in place to pivot or to not react, but be proactive to what's coming.
Yeah, I agree. So there are a number of retailers that I think, and I'm driving at Amazon here because I want you to think about this new different kind of opportunity. So as we're already business owners and we have this one kind of market, and we're pivoting into this very kind of into a lot of different kinds of potential. I'm really just trying to stretch and think, what else can we do to earn money? So Shauna, like we can talk about courses, and I think that's something we should pursue, but we can also talk about giving away your information seemingly for free, like giving away your knowledge. So kind of what we're doing here, providing this little workshop, this is very much a proof of concept, and the next one will be more promoted. But like, if you were to provide information for free to a large audience, whether that's on Facebook or YouTube Live, how can you monetize on that? Maybe Cam and Amanda, can you guys think of ways to monetizing on something like that? I feel like I'm teaching a bit of a class.
Is this, are you still teaching classes, Will, or is this going to be are you?
I fully am, yeah. I'm now adjunct professor, but distance
Online.
Adjunct professor.
Distance. I think if you're teaching classes or you're using certain products, there's always the opportunity to have affiliate links.
Yes.
There's also the opportunity to, if there's other local businesses that you can promote that have products that align with yours, you can include those almost as like a sponsor or like some kind of paid advertising in that sense, or partnership.
Absolutely. So Shauna, think about, let's say you create this, this package. Here's what you need to order from Amazon to start your home garden or start your home, I don't know, tulip garden or potato patch or tomato patch. You can actually create essentially an affiliate link to Amazon, put every item into it, and everything that they buy, you get a percentage of. So setting up this affiliate relationship with this partner program with Amazon, I think is a really good way to go. Cam, I really like your suggestion. If there is something we can deliver locally to people, that could potentially be a huge win. Because it's like, hey, here are the planters that you need to buy, and we actually have access to them in a way that we can just package everything together and deliver it to your home.
Mm-hmm.
So what products or services could you do that with, Shauna?
It's still like slightly personal that way, right? And then, I don't know if we would do a Zoom video, or if we would just, because then it would be interactive, or we'd just offer them a video and they could pause it when they wanted.
Why not both?
Yep.
Yeah.
Different packages.
Or potentially do one and then ask to record it and use that one as the template for all others.
Yeah.
So as you guys see, this video is recording right now, so you'll actually be able to, we'll use some of this as content for the future. It's like, here's what we can do immediately to address market needs. Absolutely. Cool. What's, I'm trying, like, I think we're always stuck thinking in this like very linear kind of scaling method, where we still want to deliver everything we want, one-to-one service and one-on-one personalized kind of care. But Shauna, what if you were to create something right now, like how can you educate an entire, I don't know, stadium full of people on YouTube Live or on Zoom or on Facebook Live that you can monetize from? What would the first 2 or 3 ideas be?
So I have in the past thought of creating videos that we could sell online. I just don't even know where to start.
Okay, let's
educational videos.
I feel like that's what your clients would be saying. They want to take care of plants, but they don't know where to start. They keep killing them.
I fully agree. So hold on, let me just
I'm sure there's some websites that you can put your video on there and they sell it for you. I feel like if there would need to be a lot of marketing done if it was through my site for people to actually find us, but I don't know. That's your category. That's you.
Perfect. In that case, let me show you some fun things. Can I get everybody to go to I'll share a link into chat. You know what? I may actually just let me. There we go. Let me see if I can share my desktop here.
I think it's been overwhelming to think about that for me, because when you open yourself up to worldwide, the market's just so much bigger. So that seems scary to me.
Scary is good.
Mm-hmm.
If you're scared, you're acting fully rationally. We should be afraid. Like there is now, but like if you've not done this before, and few people have, this is not only scary to you, but it's scary to everybody else. And it's a special set of circumstances that will force us to make this change.
Mm-hmm.
But here's a tool that I recommend we start looking at right away, and that is Google Trends. If you want to figure out what is trending across, like what people are searching for, this is a great place to start. How to, and as I asked the question, where would you start? And you said, I don't know. Cam suggested to start where most people are probably looking for, is how to start a garden.
Mm-hmm.
Then what you can actually do, there we go. You can see the relative change. There we go. How to grow a garden. Take a look, and this, what it'll show you is what the trends over the last year have been. I'm not sure if you can see this. I'm gonna try to zoom in on this right here. There we go. I'm not sure if you see this tail end right here, where things went to from being relatively low to spiking in the last month.
Yeah.
There's now so much appetite for what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you can create even content, even if you put it on your site, but arguably the best place to look, I'm going to change this into YouTube search. So you can see, there we go. So there are, how to start a garden is peaking right now. Definitely not as much as on web, in which case creating landing page content, video content, that you can embed in that, find on YouTube, put onto social media, will help you start getting found for these things. So we can help from a marketing perspective, Shauna. That's not a problem. But we'll just need you to provide the specific content on, because we don't know enough about gardening to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And even specifically targeting people that are in places where they don't have a yard or a space outdoors. So balcony or indoor gardens, those kind of things are probably going to be very sought after, because people haven't thought about them before, but now they're a little bit worried about getting consistent vegetables or anything. And they're going to be doing it in small confined spaces, which is probably something that you would be able to specialize in.
Yeah. Grow a garden in an apartment.
Anyone have any carpentry skills? Want to help me pre-build the containers? We can drop them at people's houses.
Before you get into worrying about Cam suggested partnering with local business or giving them the opportunity, like going after who has the capacity to make them, disinfect them by spraying them down with isopropyl alcohol and getting them ready for you to pick up. Or potentially, if you were to put this on Amazon and people could order directly, what would that look like? I think it's tempting, and I think a lot of people do this, is think about the 100 reasons why something won't work, as opposed to the one way that we can make it work. Because it's like, yeah, you're right. We could worry about growing the planters or finding the pots or whatever else. Right now, we're just trying to figure out the most frictionless way to, or least effort way to put this out there and see if we can start engaging with people.
And also testing your network. Maybe there is a lot of layoffs and things happening. Maybe there are people that are recently out of a job that are looking for projects that they could help on to help pay their rent and pay their mortgages. So just reaching out into like Facebook marketplaces and places like that, you might be able to find people that could partner with you very easily.
Absolutely. So, okay, when all of this ends, and it will, whether that's a month from now or a year from now or 2 years from now, which businesses do you think are going to do best?
Ones who don't give up right now and that are thinking outside the box and changing with the times.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Businesses that survive and businesses that actually start in recessionary periods are the most viable and do best. Companies like IBM, Google, arguably. I had a whole list the other day of companies that started during a recession. Some of the biggest ones. Procter and Gamble was another one. But there's another answer that I'm looking for, and that is, if you have, let's say, 5 options for restaurants that you'll want to go back to after all of this ends, how will you choose? Let's say all 5 survive and 5 reopen.
Ones that stay top of mind during these times.
That's right.
So not only are they adapting and not giving up, they're also finding ways to stay top of mind. They could be picking up other services while this is happening. Yep. And you're like, well, that was a restaurant that decided to deliver my food during these times. I'm going to actually go there and support them once the economy lifts back up.
Right. It's businesses that have somehow endeared themselves to us. We had a call from a client who just started marketing with us, and he's like, hey, I have to cancel, but I'm the last thing. And we're like, yeah, absolutely. We get it. We like what you do is very, very human centric. But he's like, in this time, I want to put a notice on my website that I'm open to delivering things for people. And I'll even do it for at cost. I'm not working. My equipment's not working, but the least I can do is help people who are in need. And I'm like, that is a brilliant idea to endear yourself to the community and to your customers, potential customers. So I think there's now a huge opportunity to, if we're not going to be as busy as we are, we're sitting at home. Sure, we can play a lot of video games, and statistics are actually showing that now people are playing more video games than ever. Or, yeah, you should roll your eyes, Shauna, I agree. Or we could find a way to leverage and leverage our resources and our talents to actually build relationships with people who will support you when all of this is over. So, yeah, so that's there's no shortage of ideas as to how we can do that, whether offering food, offering our equipment or services, providing teaching. I think there's a huge opportunity on that front too. So I don't want this to go on too much longer, but Shauna, do you have next steps for what you're going to do?
I do. I have a lot of ideas. I would like to sit on them and over the next couple of days and kind of come up with a plan. So thanks for all your feedback, you guys.
Absolutely. I'd love, but before we end though, I'd love to have we can sit on ideas. I'm not sure how busy you are today, but I'd love to actually have the next steps for what you can do to start with your business. So maybe Cam or Amanda, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Where do you think Shauna should start? Because I know this is a hard time to kind of start thinking about that. So I want to give you the next 3 steps to go on, if you're okay with that, Shauna.
Yeah.
So Cam, Amanda, where do you guys think she should start?
I think the first thing is, like you're saying, making sure that people are aware of what you're doing during these times. So having that messaging on your website, recording a video or putting out more messaging on your social channels that lets them know that you're aware, obviously, of this pandemic and the small things that you're doing within your shop so that your customers are safe.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's the number one thing is especially like I said, I'm surprised Skip the Dishes and DoorDash isn't kind of shut down, because the number one thing that I even think of with any business, even going to a grocery store, is how many people have been in here. If I know it's just you and 2 others, then I'm like, you know what? I trust it. Like, she's taking precautions because she wants her business to continue. Obviously, she doesn't want to get the virus and have issues because then she's no longer able to like be right there with her business. So I fully trust. And then yeah, like just ways to keep your audience engaged. One other thing that I think would be really cool to see that I don't actually see from a lot of like plant enthusiasts or florists is not just plant care, but like a plant doctor. Like if I sit there and say, oh my gosh, my leaves are turning yellow on this one plant, why is it happening? And then finding out that maybe I just have it in like a low lit room when it needs more light or something like that. Like maybe reaching out to the public just to even asking questions like, what are your plant questions? And then writing them down and addressing them later. Then that gives you stuff to kind of yeah, talk to people about or do a workshop on that as well. Yeah, and like keeps them engaged too.
Sure. So here, Shauna, what I'll say is step number one, I agree, fully like inform people about what's happening. Website, YouTube, create a little video. Like the background that you have right now looks great. I would add a couple plants to that if possible, because I'm just seeing that there is no, is that a little plant or is that a cup on that shelf in the back behind you?
Well, that was done the year I opened. That picture was taken by you guys. So
No. The picture, sorry, that's a picture in the background?
no, like on my website?
No. Just the like on your background right now, like behind you, if you were to look over your right shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that is a plant. Cool. But anyways, so actually even putting out a message, like you actually look really good right now. I would even do something like this and say, hey, look, here's what's happening. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're concerned about. And here's what, what you can still reach out to us for. So Amanda, your suggestion, I'll put this into a block of survey and suggest. Like there's so many great ways of getting in.
Can we stop right now for a sec? Because we're going to get a copy of this video, right?
Yes.
So maybe Shauna, you can practice what you would say right now because we'll get a copy of that.
All right, here we go. So hey guys, I hope everyone's staying safe at home. I know these times are really uncertain, but we're here to support you as well. We're making the necessary changes to make sure that everyone's safety is number one. Everyone's health is taken care of. And so if we're going to be providing flower deliveries as well as plant deliveries and education for you guys in order to keep stay happy at home. And how we're going to be doing that is we're limiting the amount of people. There's absolutely nobody coming into the shop. It's just myself handling all of the plants and flowers, and we have one driver. None of us have been out of the country and we're completely healthy. So that's super important. And we will be delivering curbside only, and we'll give you a call when it's dropped off at your doorstep. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out. We're doing our part, and we'd love to still be your flower providers.
Love it. Perfect. In that case, that's done, recorded. And then we can craft a message that just addresses that on the website. As far as survey and suggests go, like getting in front of people on Facebook, on Instagram, giving them some ideas. It's like, hey, I'm thinking, I've seen a lot of interest in how to plant your own garden, or which plants are going to give you the freshest air, and like which ones are best to have at home during a crisis like this. Here are the 3 workshops or 2 workshops we're thinking of offering. Who would want to sign up for it? It's a free workshop. Then you can actually plan these things out maybe for Wednesday or Friday, and that'll give you 2 days to actually come up with, here are the affiliate links from Amazon, or here are the relationships of people who will deliver. So during that message, say, when you actually have this, whether it's a Zoom call or a Facebook Live, Instagram Live, or YouTube Live, put that out and say, hey, there are 3 packages that are available that we can drop off to you. They're priced at $59, $99, and $199. Here's what you're going to get.
And the other thing too that like with the planting like a little mini garden and stuff, with those packets of seeds and everything, I'm not sure if it's sanitary if you're allowed to, but like splitting them up too, because like I just bought seeds for like radishes and spinach and lettuce, and I probably planted 50 cups, like little seedlings, and I have so many seeds left. Like I don't need that much type thing. So it's nicer if I got like, you know, enough seeds for like a couple radishes and stuff like that. Like I would easily justify buying a little package instead of spending, you know, all that money on more and being like, great, now I've got a whole bunch more seeds. Like I don't even know what to do with them.
People don't
So
have space either. Most people don't have a lot of space, so that's
yeah,
makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
So like stackable gardens right now, I think were one of the terms that were trending. As Cam mentioned, like how do you do this in an apartment or a condo? Like that could be one of the suggestions that you can have.
Great.
So yeah, absolutely. And then the last one, I think it's just stay active. And this is the last, like stay active and stay top of mind. So there's so many different ways that you can do that right now. Like you're here, you're on camera, which again is, you know, 95%, you're in the 90 or in the 5th percentile. 95% of people won't be comfortable enough to go out and do that. So
well, our Instagram, like people, it's probably doubled in how many people are actually reacting to our stories, and we're getting really great feedback, and a lot of people are interacting with us even more than ever. So that's positive.
And that makes sense. Like it's like people are now cooped up at home and they're looking for these kinds of projects or opportunities. And then just thinking back to those different product types, like if you can pivot your product into this essentials category, like you will need food. Here is your garden that you will grow.
Right.
You will need air. Here are your plants seedlings that you can buy from us, or full plants that you can buy from us. I think there's a huge opportunity there. Anyway, it's been an hour. Thank you so much everyone for joining. I hope that there's some value that you guys received out of this. And yeah, let's Shauna, let's get down to work right away. Amanda, how are you keeping up? Like what are you doing right now?
Keeping busy. I honestly, like, that's what I've been doing, is I've been planting. This was kind of like a sign to, I've been working on just my own website, and then obviously I got laid off, and the whole events thing is probably not going to be like generating much traffic for a while. But I've been trying to work with Train Station in Midtown too, with the same thing. Like ever since before I took over their media platforms, they didn't really post a lot. They're very, they're like 50, 60-year-old people that they don't do a lot of online stuff. A lot of their clientele was one-on-one, and they started bringing in younger generations, just mostly with staff. So I've been kind of trying to work with them on, hey, like we could do this, we could post about this, we could, just to keep people engaged is my biggest thing is, and they were doing delivery, and they were doing delivery and curbside pickup, and they were actually delivering it themselves. Like it was the wife and the 2 kids that were delivering with their own Jeeps, like their own money, which was, I trusted a lot more than Skip the Dishes. And I was very happy about that, but I can't remember why they had to shut down operation. But now I guess they're working on it again, trying to see how they can go about it where it's super safe and stuff like that. And I told them too, I said, we've got some old cocktails recipes that we probably won't put on our menu again. Let's put them online. Like, let's have people go, okay, here you can make this cocktail, or same with some recipes in the kitchen that I know we probably won't have for a long time. I was like, just like, there's a really good recipe for wonton crisp with cinnamon and sugar that's super easy to do. So I was like, let's try and put that on, put it online and see how people respond to it and stuff. But I don't know. I've just been keeping busy, like trying to give myself something to do every day, I guess. Which is
out of curiosity, like how much of your schedule is now packed and filled? Like, would you be able to take on like more work?
Oh yeah. Like I've literally got nothing to do. I spent like 6 hours kind of working and tinkering around on a website and just some graphics yesterday and some homework, but I don't know, honestly, like, yeah, I painted my house, I painted my doorway, I cleaned up my garage. Like, I've done so much, like, I just try to keep busy. I don't know. I think if you sit around and play video games or TV, I like watching a movie at night, but I'm just in the daytime. I'm a very early person. I'm very routined. I like to have things to do and things to aim towards. Like, it's just mostly even with my fiance, every time we wake up, he's like, well, what do I do today? I'm like, go online, look at your stocks, like study your stocks. You could do this, you could do this, we could do this. Like, try not to sit, like, I don't know. I just don't, like, I try to keep busy and think of ways that we can still make it through, because there's no point in sitting and moping around and being all pouty about it. So
fantastic. And sorry to hear that you were laid off, but I think now there's this opportunity. Your skill set and how you understand, and even some of the suggestions you came up with, I feel like reaching out. I'm not sure if you and Shauna can connect after this separately, but you can potentially help Shauna. I'm not sure if that's something that you're open to, like bounce ideas off of one another, maybe even some of this execution. I'm not sure how much of that, Shauna, you're open to getting help with. But like, it's amazing. Amanda will be connected to very different kinds of people potentially than you are. So figuring out, is there a way to like work together, and then figure out a way to, like, if there is some idea that you guys can roll out together, so collaborate, and then figure out how do we split the earnings from something like that. Right now, every employer is pulling back on expenses, but if you can be speculative and say, hey, look, here's what I'm going to do, and if this works well, how about we split this in this kind of way?
Yeah, totally. I'd love to work like you, Shauna, especially with like all your videos and stuff like that. It's something I've been working on even this week with friends and stuff, is trying to do that digital, like, meeting up and having something to talk about, even if it's just online. Like, I think a lot of people are going to start struggling if we do go into full quarantine with the whole not socializing, but there's so many ways to socialize, like, they just don't see it. So, and like, get out there, but without getting out there. So
like a garden party.
Yes.
100% garden party, put some wine in there. Like,
Yeah.
So just so you guys know, we had this, we had a bread making party on Saturday night, and it was so much fun. We had a guy from Hawaii. We had some friends from down the street, and it was just like, this is awesome. We actually get to hang out, go through, and like, it was a really, really good way of socializing.
You guys did it online?
Yeah, we did it through Zoom.
Perfect.
So
are you gonna start delivering your bread there, Will?
Or
is it not ready yet?
No. Like, the baguettes were good. They weren't like, I think 2 or 3 more iterations, and I'm gonna have like Costco level baguettes that I'll be selling for about, I don't know, let's call it, I don't know, $4 or $5 a baguette or something. Just be like, hey, here's this artisanal olive loaf or something like that. We'll figure it out.
yeah.
Or do the marketing thing.
I'm into it. I'll buy a loaf.
Perfect. It'll be awesome. All right. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And I look forward to seeing the efforts that you guys put out. So let's keep in touch.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Shauna. Thanks, Cam. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Tina.
Guys.
Bye.
Thank you. See ya.